You're listening to Mouthbuzz, where the noise never shuts up, and neither do we. Thanks for joining us on Mouthbuzz, and we're here today at Shorncliffe Pier. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But what's on the agenda?
Well, we've got a mixed bag. Our topic is oil pulling and art of muffled communications.
Muffled communications.
Muffled communications. Exactly. And others are crackle pop. Are your joints talking to you? And then we have, are you losing money whilst chasing bargains?
Money's important.
Mm-hmm. I think that one's something to do with you. Just hinting. And from gut to glory, the strangest cure yet.
That should be weird.
Absolutely.
I've got a sense that's going to be weird.
Weird and weird signs.
Okay. Well, look, here we are at Shorncliffe Pier, and when I first came to the Redcliffe Peninsula and had a look at this pier, it was totally in mothballs. You couldn't go on it. It was derelict, not a very good state. And from my point of view, there was just that pier, right? But in fact, there's been several piers in this location.
Several?
3 in total. In the last 120 years, there's been 3 piers.
Wow. Oh, I reckon I know where some of them are.
And they've all been in the same place.
Good thing they don't move around, because that'd be tricky to find.
So apparently the Queensland government was lobbied to get some money together to build the first pier in 1865, but they said no money for a pier.
Oh.
So the first
pier... Well, they
pier...
were silly.
The first pier was built by William Deegan.
Who's he?
Well, you'll know that name because Deegan's a suburb in this area, right? So in 1879, he built the first Shorncliffe Pier, and William Deegan owned the hotel. He was the publican.
Oh.
And what he was looking for, there used to be a trade, right, where ferries would travel from along the water, along Moreton Bay, from Brisbane well, he was looking for them to stop off at Shorncliffe, but they also went up to Redcliffe and further up. And that's how people got around. They were
I remember that.
They were like the river taxis.
That was the bit I knew.
Yeah, so he wanted more people to come to his pub, and so he built the pier, and it even had a tram track on it, so people could jump on the tram, get off the boat, jump on the tram.
Because it was so long.
Because it was long, and get into the shore and hopefully go and have a nice cold beer at his pub. And then this pier was replaced, because apparently it was a bit short, and in 1883, so it was 260 metres long, and it was further extended another 90.
Wow.
Because what was happening was there's a lot of shallow areas around here, so at low tide the boats couldn't get in easily. So they did that too. So it was a total of like 350 plus metres long, pointing out into Moreton Bay.
Are you telling me that a person, a publican, heard a bar is smarter than a politician?
Could that really be?
Even then.
Oh dear. And this is all timber, right? All these piers are built out of timber.
Oh yeah.
And
so they get eaten up in the water.
Yeah, so when I arrived in this area, the pier was closed because it was dangerous. And so since the time that I've been here, it's been restored and rebuilt. And it was all to do with marine borers eating into the timber. And so I think in 2014, the government stepped up after all those years.
Just a bit late.
And in 2016, the new one was opened.
Okay.
Now...
And it's hugely popular.
It's incredibly popular.
It's busy.
And like trying to get a park in the early morning in this car park that's here at the pier is virtually impossible. You've got to get here super early. It's such a popular spot for people walking their dogs and jogging and fishing and all sorts of things. Yeah, it's very
crazy.
Very cool. So there you go, Shorncliffe Pier.
Well, guess what?
What?
You have to keep talking.
I do?
Yep, because you're going to tell us now about oil pulling
Oh, oil pulling.
and your weird muffled conversations that I have to put up with every morning.
Well, I would protest here and say that you are a big contributor to the whole episode.
Oops.
So, a little while ago, I had some teeth out, which was a bit of a shock because I thought I was going to have. I thought my body was like perfect, but it's not. And we lost some teeth. And then more recently, I went to the dentist. He said, "Oh, I recommend that we take out 13 other teeth."
Holy moly.
Holy moly. So I was in even more shock about that. So I did a bunch of research and thought, well, maybe I can prolong my teeth. Maybe they can last longer than the dentist knows, right? Because I didn't want to. That's a lot of teeth and there was a lot of money involved. So I discovered this thing called oil pulling. And basically it's a technique where every morning you get up and you put a tablespoon of oil in your mouth.
Engine oil?
No, and definitely not used engine oil. So it'd be coconut
Canola oil?
Not canola oil. It's coconut oil or sesame oil. And this is I guess is it Ayurvedic? How do you say that?
Ayurveda. Ayurvedic, you're correct.
Yeah. And swish that in your mouth, around in your mouth for 5 minutes, 10 minutes every morning, and then spit it out. And it helps keep your gums clean, removes infection, pulls toxins out of your mouth, and all sorts of groovy things. And I can attest that it has helped tremendously. So I have still got all of my teeth.
And I can recommend that anyone who loves a quiet morning, get your partner at home or anyone who's in your home, get them into oil pulling, because you get between 10 and 20 minutes of silence, only muffled sounds.
Well, this is the thing that nobody tells you. This is the hidden part of oil pulling. So there I am in the morning making coffee with my oil, and somebody comes up to me and says, "What are you doing? What are we doing today? How are you? Did you sleep well?" And all you've got is, because you can't say anything. And so conversation has become a series of little beeps and clicks and ums and ahs.
That's our new love language.
And that's our new morning love language. The weird thing is though, you actually understand some of it.
Don't be ridiculous. I just pretend.
Oh dear. So there you go. Oil pulling, muffled communications.
And how are your teeth?
My teeth are great.
And you've kept them?
Yes, I haven't been to the dentist. I haven't spent the money. I haven't had them pulled out. My gums are much happier and I have huge improvement.
Marvellous.
A few other things I'm doing, but I think that's a great contributor. So, yay.
Confession time.
Confessions?
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. Here we go.
I have something to tell you. I have crepitus.
What?
Do you have crepitus?
Often a lot of crepitus comes out of my mouth.
Oh no, this is not in my mouth. This is somewhere else and not where you think. I have crepitus. I've discovered, look, I'm getting a bit older and I thought, oh my gosh, I need to really do some strength work, right? So I've been following these physiotherapists online, and after I followed them for a while, I thought I like how they operate and how they talk. So I joined their program, and they're called Be Mobile Physiotherapy.
Okay.
Yay, big shout out. And I'm doing strength training with them, and they do a few squats. But you can do squats on a chair, so it's with a chair, so it's a bit
So
the
they're not
easier
really
version.
squats.
They are squats,
Okay.
just the more simple version. But every time I do squats, I've got crepitus.
Crepitus when you...
Crepitus when I squat.
Is that spelled C-R-A-P?
No, C-R-E-P.
Okay.
Maybe it's crepitus. Crepitus.
Crepitus.
Crepitus. I've got crepitus. Because every time I go up and down, my knees talk. They go pop, crackle, snap, crunch, grind.
Oh,
They're the sounds that the joints make. And that's crepitus.
I sometimes get some noises when I click my neck.
Oh, maybe you got crepitus in
I
your
might
neck.
have crepitus of the neck.
No, I think when you click your neck, then you actually release the gas bubbles that form in the synovial fluid in between the joints.
Oh.
And then you can't do it again. You can't get that crack again because the gas has to build up again. So that's something different I learned. But when you've got crepitus, what happens is the joints, where they rub together with the synovial fluid between, they're really smooth when you're young, and when you get older, they get a bit ridgy.
Mm.
And when you get the weird noises that your body makes when you do certain types of movement, they rub together. And that's the noise. That's the crepitus. Now I wrote to these people and I said, should I be worried? Because I said, I'm not in pain. And they said, no, all good. It's just, that's how they explained it.
Wow.
Which is really cool. I love how they explain things. So I can keep doing my apparently not squats and build up my strength.
Mm-hmm. So when I go past your room in the morning and hear snap, crackle and pop, it's not breakfast.
Correct.
It's crepitus.
Yes, absolutely.
Good morning. How's your crepitus today?
Well,
any new crepitus reports?
It'll talk back to you. Oh, very good. Thank you very much. So, enough jokes about me. Let's talk about you. What do you mean by this question? Are you losing money chasing bargains? Got anything to say?
Well, this happened this week, right?
Do tell.
This happened this week, and it's kind of a moment when you realize that it's time to change. I have been somebody who has loved treasure hunting, and I mean that. I'll be going to secondhand stores and scour Facebook Marketplace and Gumtree looking for bargains and deals and what have you. And what I've realized is that recently our old whippersnipper died, and I wanted to get a new one. So I'm looking on Facebook Marketplace, and I probably spent a couple of hours. Well, I probably spent quite a few hours looking at all of the offerings, and then I rang some people up, and then I contacted some people, and on Facebook it's messengers, so it might take 24 hours for a response. And I organized to go and see somebody, and then somebody else came and bought the chain whippersnipper, and so that one went away, and so I had to look at some other ones. And then I realized after all this was taking a lot of time, and I really needed, and the grass was growing, right? So with every day's delay, the grass got another half an inch taller. And so eventually I went down to the local garden shop, talked to the guy, got directed onto a good whippersnipper, bought it, and yesterday went up, and it was awesome, and it just mowed that grass down. Well, literally mowed it down, and it was a fantastic result. And I think the thing with this is I don't often account for the value of my time. So let's say, something's $250 and it's $350 new. How much of that difference of $100 do I spend in my time?
Well, I reckon you overspend.
Yes.
And then it runs for a year.
And stops.
And then you have to get another one.
That's right.
And then the whole thing starts again.
I mean, I've got a 4-year warranty on this one that I just bought.
A 4-year warranty?
4-year warranty.
No way. Unbelievable.
So sometimes when you're trying
Do you have a fever?
Fever?
I'm wondering whether you're ill buying a brand new item.
I know, it's unusual, right? But so there's the thing.
How much fun you're having with it.
Yeah.
So good. Because it works.
And it works, and it's awesome. So happy days.
And it's even more modern.
Yep. So you've got to look at your time, your energy, your effort that you put into something as part of the equation when you're looking for a bargain.
I like to bring up a memory here.
A memory?
An old story.
Tell me.
So we moved into a very big place. It was a gigantic, gorgeous apartment. We got a good price rent. I've always wanted a big table in the dining room. And there was a space for it. Right, we finally had space for it. So, of course, what did you do? Oh, you did your bargain hunting.
I went onto Facebook Marketplace.
Absolutely. And you find lots of different tables.
Hundreds
of them. And we discussed them and we looked at them. And it took 6 or 8 months to look at them.
Was it really that long?
Well, I will have to tell you, whilst we were in that apartment for a bit over a year, never ever got a table for that place.
We didn't.
We never. That place stayed empty in that huge, big, gorgeous, gorgeous space. It was empty. But we did find a table when we moved.
In the new place, yes.
In the new place where there's less space. And so off we went. And
Well, actually, we saw the photos. It was a lovely rustic-looking
yes.
kitchen country kind of table.
Yes.
Looked beautiful.
And of course, we didn't have the transport.
Yes.
The table was what, $250?
$180.
Oh, 180, okay. So, bargain, right? Beautiful wooden table. So we went and hired a ute.
We did.
How much was the ute for the day?
Oh, it's about
$70?
100. Let's say $100 round figures.
Okay. So this table was $280 plus by now with the hiring of the ute. And we had to drive where? Up to the Sunshine Coast?
And inland.
So then we had to call the people, make arrangement where to meet on the road somewhere because they were up a hill and we didn't have a forward drive and they were off road, so they were coming to meet us. So then we had to pay for the petrol, then we had to pay for lunch, and then they brought their table down on this little ute.
Yes.
And both of our mouths dropped.
It was kind of disappointing, wasn't it?
Do you know that table would have fitted in the back of a Jazz? And we hired a ute. It took up what? I'm not so good with fractions. A third of the.
Not even that.
Not even
Quarter.
Less than. Yeah, a quarter of the size of the ute that we'd hired.
That's right.
And we said, thank you very much. Tied on the table, secured it, and then we sat in that front cab of the ute and we just started laughing.
It was ridiculous.
Pathetic. Oh my gosh.
Then we got the table home and loaded it and put it in the dining room, and that was okay.
Because we were in a smaller place and it was actually perfect.
It was okay.
Yeah.
And then I took the ute back, but I had to fill it with petrol.
Yes.
Because I had to replace the petrol we'd used. And then you had to come and pick me up
Oh, yes.
and take me home.
Oh my God. So really, how much was this table worth?
That was a very expensive
About
table.
$500-600.
$1,000.
I mean,
Because all of the time that we spent looking,
so, did we lose money chasing that bargain?
we did.
Absolutely.
And then that table ended up in we moved into a bigger place and got a better table.
Yes.
And we ended up, that table went up to be a
work table, on a
table in
work
it.
site.
Yes. And so it's gone now.
Yes.
So moral of the story is, wake up.
Is that a self-talk?
That's
Pep
self-talk.
talk? Okay. We've had a few adventures like that,
We
right?
have had a few adventures.
Okay. Anyway, I have to ask you something. What comes to mind when I say to you, fecal matter transplant?
Well, it's basically poo.
It is poop, yeah. What do you think they do with fecal matter and transplants?
Oh, God. You know,
What comes to your
I've
mind?
heard of so many weird things that science and doctors and surgeons have discovered and done with the human body. But I'm willing to be educated. Tell me something new.
Okay, well, fecal matter is all about getting fecal matter from a healthy donor. Are you healthy? No, I don't want to go there because I don't want to look at your fecal matter, I tell you.
You leave my fecal matter out of, you leave my fecal matter out of this.
So, I'm I know in America they pay for blood donor. I wonder if you can go and give fecal matter and get paid for it. I'm not sure how it works.
Get on with it. I'm feeling squeamish.
So there are a lot of people with autism on this planet right now.
Yep.
1.16% of Australians are diagnosed.
That's very specific, 1.16.
I know, I did my research. 1.16% of Australians are diagnosed with autism, and in the States it's 1.05%, and that these stats come from 2022.
Okay.
So I don't know what it is now.
A bunch of people.
But Bangladesh has the lowest rating of people with autism, 0.6%.
Crikeys.
I know, right?
Interesting.
It is. And we're in the top 10 countries in the
Australia.
world. Yep.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
America. And we're a bit higher than the US. There's been a big study done, and they're up to their third phase now, and they do fecal transplants on people who have autism, who have been diagnosed with autism.
Fecal transplants.
Yep, fecal. It's actually called fecal microbiota transplants.
That's just a disguise.
And what happens is every day, these people in the study, they have a bowel cleanse and then they have the transplant done. So they empty out their own bowels and put the transplant in. Now, people with autism apparently have less variety of microbes in their gut.
Hold on. Every day
For 6 to 8 weeks.
they have a bowel cleanse.
Yes.
And then new poop
Well,
is put back.
yes.
Okay.
I don't know how.
Just want to clarify
Yes.
that this is a bit weird.
Yes. Because they get it from a healthy donor and it contains lots of microbes.
Okay.
Because there's so much research now between healthy gut, healthy microbes, healthy mind.
Healthy body.
I think the gut is now seen as a second brain, something like
Yeah,
that.
I've heard it described as the gut is the immune system.
Yes.
Your gut needs to work.
Yeah, and people with autism have less microbes. Variety of microbes that
right.
they require. And so they use fecal transplants. And what it did was it brought improvements in behaviour with people with autism.
Wow.
So for up to 3 months after these transplants,
Goodness.
and with regards to their social skills, less hyperactivity and more communication.
Well, that's a great result. And I have to say, surely there's something else.
That's what I'm thinking too.
It's kind of, that is weird science.
Who makes up this
Who
stuff?
finds this out?
I have no idea.
How would you come across this?
And
Let's
do you-
take some fecal matter.
And do you? Well, I don't see, how does it get done? Do you go through the feces and actually just pick out the microbes? Is that possible, or do you have to get the whole shebang?
Stop!
Is this right up your
Stop.
alley or what?
Oh my goodness! Look, I have no knowledge whether this is fact or not because I
think I
haven't fact checked it. But I saw on Facebook that somebody said there was a study done where they changed the diet of a bunch of people with behavioural, autistic and different things, and over a period of relatively short period of time, those symptoms disappeared.
Yes, which would make sense with this too, because the microbiome.
Yeah, so maybe it's a case of getting some good food, some good micro little critters into your gut so that it can function as it's meant to.
But I do know that, because I've watched a few movies, I do know that some people with there's different, like autism is a spectrum, right? So some people are highly functional and some people function totally differently. And I know that some people with autism, they don't like eating a variety of food.
Okay.
And maybe that's, like some people, some just like eating jelly and maybe a certain type of fruit, and that's all they want to eat. So maybe that's why the fecal transplants are working, because some people don't like to eat different types of food.
Personally, change of diet. I'd go there every time.
I know, but yeah.
Bizarre. I have to say it again.
Some people eat dirt.
Weird science.
Weird science.
Weird science.
But effective.
We shall see.
There's a third study coming up. So maybe we'll get hold of that study. Watch this space.
Oh my goodness gracious me. That is so bizarre. You know, I thought we'd talk a little bit about money.
Oh, yes.
Money's something that interests most people.
Hot topic.
Not enough, too much. Lots of points of view.
Hard to get.
Hard to get. Got to pay my bills. Lots of debt. Goodness gracious. Credit cards,
Oh, yes.
mortgages, money. It's something that's kind of essential to how we live these days. And probably a bit like religion, something that's not everybody's very happy with their money situation.
No.
Are you happy with your money situation?
Yes.
Nice. Well, I've got a little story.
It took a while to get there, though.
It does take a little while to get there. Does your point of view create your money situation?
What?
Yeah, like when I was a young fella, around about the age of 8 or 10, I recall coming into the kitchen and my mum and my dad were fighting.
Yep.
Mum was very emotional. Dad was trying to calm her down, and they were fighting about money. And I can't remember the exact details of it because I just came into the kitchen. But what I saw was that my mum and dad, my mum was crying. She was really upset. My dad was trying to calm her down, etc. And it was a really tense, horrible situation. And it was about money. And my dad saw me and gave me $10 and said, "Stephen, go down to the shop and get me a packet of cigarettes." So I took the dog and I went off and did that. And I realised now that what he was doing was just getting me out of the room.
Right.
He was a smoker in those days.
And that's when you were able to go and buy some cigarettes as a kid.
Yes.
That's hilarious.
That is a good point, isn't it?
Did you actually have a written note saying, "These are for me, my child is allowed to get these"?
No.
Holy moly.
Holy moly.
Times have changed.
So I realised later in life that I had made a decision then, based on that experience, that money was a bad thing because it made my parents unhappy. It made my parents fight. It made my mother cry. Money must be a bad thing.
And did you start smoking?
I didn't start smoking.
Oh, that's good.
Because it wasn't about the money. And that decision sits with you throughout your life.
Yeah, right.
Decisions have this longevity. And unless you face up to them and change them and have a different point of view, they stick with you.
Well,
Money is a bad thing.
You obviously got over that one.
And I did get over it because I realised it was one of those things. There's been quite a few in my life where I've gone, where did that come from? Oh yeah, that was from Dad, that was from Mum, that was from that situation. So let's have a different point of view now. Let's just ditch that decision.
Yeah.
So how many of those kind of situations do we go through as kids, making decisions about money that we forget about? We don't even know that we decided that. We don't even know that we experienced that. We forget about it. That affects our money flows and the way money comes to us and the way we are with money in our future.
Because that's how we were taught about money. Indirectly.
Indirectly, that was how we were taught.
You often sound gregarious.
Yeah.
And I learnt that from my dad.
Right.
He's always paying for people, giving money away. If you have it, it's there to be spent.
Yeah.
And I used to be a bit like that. Totally, I'm a bit like that. But I've added some other tools to my life too, and I got that from my dad.
Yeah, and so
indirectly.
Yeah, and
by
so
watching him.
If you had the point of view that money was bad, would that make it difficult for money to come into your life?
Of course, because why would you want to have something bad?
Or would you
in
get
your
some
life?
money and would you get rid of it as soon as you could?
Yeah.
Because it's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think there's this difference, between getting rid of money, spending money, and having money. And we'll talk another time about having money, because having money is different to spending money. And wealthy people have money. How do you change a decision that you've made in the past as a child that you hardly remember or don't remember, that you don't even know it exists, but it's still affecting your life?
Well, I was going to say the first thing you have to do is recognize it. But if you don't even know about it, I'm not sure how you would do it.
I think you have to get to question. You have to ask yourself what limitations, what self-imposed limitations do I have about money?
And then you can change it by actually recognizing something?
Yeah, well, what it does, the question, when you get to question these kind of questions, is it opens the door to greater awareness and clarity on something. You may have no clue what's going on with your money stuff. You just know that you have a lack of money or a lot of debt. You have the result of choices, decisions you've made in the past. Right now, if you look at your financial situation, that it's a result of choices, decisions that you've made in the past. It's a result of points of view that you have about money.
So it doesn't mean you have to come up with an answer to that question?
No. Right. Question is kind of different. People, we're taught at school that we have to have the answer.
Question, answer, question, answer, question, answer.
Yeah,
that's a pattern.
Yeah, and it's more that a question opens you up to different possibilities and different clarity around something. So you're not going to get some sort of immediate answer, right. I don't have enough money because...
But you might see an advert for a course about money that you go, I think I'll go and learn about that.
That's
perhaps.
Right. It kind of just, the things come to you. It's not a logical, scientific construct. It's if you're willing to ask questions like this, what self-imposed limitations do I have around money, creating the financial situation I currently have, for example, something like that. And if you ask that every day, you will eventually, through the strangest of ways, get information about that question.
Right. Yep.
And as I say, it's not logical, it's not scientific, it's just the way that it works. And once you have the awareness of those kind of things, like that situation I talked about earlier with my parents fighting over money when I was a young fella, once I knew about that, then I can address it.
Yep.
Because then I can say, well, is money really a bad thing? Well, no, it's just money. It's only bad because I judged it so. Yeah. Right?
And even if you don't have those memories, you can still look at what you're doing with money.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, what you can look at is, here's my current financial situation. Everything that I've done and been before that has created this. Yeah. What choices, decisions, education, etc., can I now have or choose that will change this and create something different? Again, a question. And then, in the strangest of ways, information will come to you, insights will come to you, people will come to you, and you can begin changing it.
So it's not too late.
It's not too late. It's never too late. The situation you're in is simply a result of what came before. So if you change the choices you're making and the actions you're taking, then your future can be different.
It's a bit like, well, on a different topic, it's a bit like me realising I'm losing a bit of my strength. And I thought, I've been asking for about 6 months, what would I like to do? What would my body like to do? And I have even thought about going back to the gym, although I know that every time I go to the gym, eventually I injure myself, even with personal trainers and everything else. So finally, I found the people who I found, and it took me a while to get there, and I'm absolutely loving it.
Yeah, you made a different choice.
Yes. Yeah.
And your future will be different.
One more story.
Okay.
Something that happened this week, which is sort of related to this.
Tell me.
I was driving out of the car park at work, and I'm sitting on the edge of the road where I was going to join the driveway, where I was going to join the main road, and I looked to my left, and here's this elderly couple on all fours on the grass.
Crikeys.
I know, and I thought, my immediate thought was, are they drunk? Are they on drugs? And I put the emergency lights on in my car, and I just made a choice to run over and assist.
Good.
Just to find out what was happening.
I'll just comment, that's
Yep.
really quite unusual these days
What's up?
for somebody to go and assist.
Oh, okay. Well, I just knew something had to be done, and I thought, okay, they're on their fours, and if they're totally drunk, I can always, choose to leave. So I went over, and here's this woman, and what had actually happened was, this man was trying to help this woman up because they were on their way to the shops, and she tripped and fallen and had a sore knee, and she wasn't huge, but she was a dead weight because she couldn't get up.
Oh, goodness.
But she didn't have enough strength in her thighs to actually lift up. So he and I, we both pulled her up, took quite a bit of effort, and then when she was standing, she was okay. And I asked them where they lived, and they didn't live that far away. And I said, well, can I drive you home? And the lovely woman, she looked at me, and she was so grateful that she was off the grass.
Standing up.
And she said, oh, that would be so lovely, but could I have 2 minutes, please, to buy something in the shops? And I looked, and my first thought was, I really had a judgment. It was so fast. I'm offering you a lift, what, just get in the car. And I went, you know what? Sure. Go and do your shopping. I'll be here. So the elderly man stood next to me at the car, and I'm watching her walk off to the shops. And I thought, oh my gosh, if she falls again, she's going to be there and we won't know. And I said to him, you can go with her. And he said, oh, no, I'll stay. I said, I promise I'll be here when you get back. I will not drive off.
He thought you were going to go.
He thought I was going to go.
Oh, goodness.
So off he went, and then they both came back, and I drove them home, and it was all good.
Oh, fantastic.
But she's my motivator to get stronger muscles.
Yes.
So I went, wow, that is so cool, this experience, having helped out, because I know that having found this strength and cardio program for over 55-year-olds, it was just like another sign, for better one of explaining, is to I'm on a great path.
And in the strangest and weirdest ways, the universe will assist if you ask.
Yes.
Yes.
And there it was. Yes.
There it was. Fantastic. Too good. Well, have we got anything else today?
That's it for today.
That's it for today?
Yes.
Well, it's been fun. Thank you for showing up.
You too.
Okay. Same time next week?
Same time next week.
Same place?
Perhaps not.
Perhaps not. Perhaps somewhere different. Okay. Well, bye for now.
Bye-bye.